One of the big stories from the PGA Tour this year was how our next guest found a math error in how the FedEx Cup points were calculated. And the result was a PGA Tour exemption through the rest of this season and a berth in the Players' Championship for both Ian Poulter and Brian Gay. And Brian Gay is joining us here on the Morning Run. Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing excellent. And want to talk to you about everything that you knew to get you to that point, to get that exemption, and along with Ian, I want to find out what his reaction was. But I got to ask you, first of all, about the big story from the PGA Tour over the last 24 hours, and it has to do with the arrest of Tiger Woods on the suspicion of DUI. What was your reaction when you heard that news, Brian?
Yeah, obviously, surprised to see that yesterday, and it's very unfortunate, and hopefully, Tiger will get it all sorted out and get back healthy and everything sorted out personally and get back out on the golf course again.
Yeah, this came after a week that he had announced to return to pro golf. But if he were to come back, what would you say the reasonable expectation would be for him returning to the course?
Well, I mean, he's obviously had numerous surgeries and a lot to deal with physically, and I think he just wants to get back to, at this point, to feeling good and living a healthy, pain-free life, and then, hopefully getting back to playing some good golf like we all know he can.
You had a couple of back surgeries yourself, had to take some time off a couple of years ago. I don't know how similar what you had done was to what he has had done, but if he came to you, Brian, and asked for some advice on how to handle the situation, what would you tell him?
Well, I had a disc replaced in my neck, so I haven't dealt with a back surgery, okay. But I have had a neck surgery and a thumb surgery. But it's tough. It's a long recovery time, and it's a lot to deal with when you're used to playing golf every day and doing what you love to do, and sitting there kind of sitting on your couch wondering if you're going to be able to play again. It's tough deal. But he's been through it many times. Hopefully he can bounce back.
What was that like for you, going through the thought process of, man, I might not be able to ever regain my form, or just trying to figure out how to regain that form to get back on the tour?
Yeah, it was I had kind of a double whammy with the neck and the left thumb kind of at the same time, and back-to-back surgery. So I was out pretty much a year and a half. So it was a lot of thinking and wondering, will I be able to get it back? And like I said, you're used to playing golf almost every day, and you've done it my whole life. So to sit around that long and going through the recovery, you do wonder, will it come back? And it took a while. It took a long while to come back and feel kind of normal again.
Was it more physical or mental that you had to deal with as far as overcoming whatever you had in the past?
Well, it's both. It's both. It was a long physical recovery, and then getting over the mental hurdle of, yes, I've done this my whole life, I can do it again, that sort of thing. So just being away from the tour that long after, being out there like 17 straight years and then being gone for so long, you go back out and you almost feel like you're starting over.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you've won 4 times on the PGA Tour, but maybe your biggest victory may have been because of your math skills here, and that's why we have you on here. One of the reasons why, Brian, as you know. How did you realize, and how did it come to be that you knew something was off as far as the calculations were concerned for the FedEx Cup points?
Well, it wasn't so much that it was a miscalculation. It was the tour changed the point distribution this season for the first time. And I was on a major medical extension after my surgery, so I had to make X number of dollars or points to remain, exempt on the tour. And when I accomplished that, making the money I needed, from, say, a month ago, I thought I'd earned my way into the Players, and didn't realize that the Players was strictly based on points, not just money. So at that point, I knew I had made. So in my mind, there was a big discrepancy in the amount of money I made, but they said I didn't have enough points to get in the Players. So at that point, I looked up the point distribution. I knew they had changed the points, but I didn't know what the difference was. I'd never looked at it. So my wife found the last year's handbook. I looked up the point distribution, which no one ever looks at, and I saw the difference, right? So I'm like, well, I would have more points if we were using last year's. So I thought, well, this isn't exactly right. everybody else qualified off of those points. Now we're getting fewer points. Just didn't seem right to me. So at that point, I reached out to the tour and explained, what I had found, and they unanimously said, this just isn't fair. Everybody should be working off the same point distribution. So they went and basically adjusted the points to last year's point distribution and not this year's.
What was the reaction?
Which was a big deal for Ian Poulter. For me, it was to get in the Players' Championship. Other than that, it didn't matter for Ian Poulter to get his tour card back.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the reaction from Ian Poulter when he heard the news?
Yeah, he was obviously very happy. And it's complicated with the point distribution, but based on where he finished in tournaments, it was a huge difference for him, and made like a 65-point difference, and ended up getting him his card back when he thought he had lost it and not fulfilled his money or points from his vehicle. And then so he was blindsided and very happy to get the call from the tour saying he had his card back. So he was thrilled.
Well, he gave you some credit via Twitter, but has he offered you anything, at least taking you out for dinner or something?
We're awaiting more gifts. He sent us a certificate, and he said sending some of his favorite red wine and some champagne. So we got some stuff coming, I guess.
Okay, well that's good. At least you got that.
Well, he's also showering you with some love on Twitter, so that's always worth something.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you find that you got some extra followers because of that tweet?
Yeah, definitely a few more people paying attention to that.
Well, that's awesome. You know what? Maybe you can get him to donate to your charity, and I know that you've been working with the Florida Hospital for Children. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was an event that, with my relationship with Diamond Resorts, started, 4.5 years ago. We started the Brian Gay Invitational, and all the proceeds go to the Florida Hospital for Children. We've been fortunate enough to raise, over about $2.3 million, I believe, in 4 years, and it's turned into a huge celebrity event, and it's live on the Golf Channel now. So, yeah, it's been fantastic.
Where can viewers go to learn more about the Pro-Am and also the Brian Gay Invitational?
You could go to Diamond Resorts. It's the Diamond Resorts Invitational. They run it and do a phenomenal job. Absolute first-class hospitality company, and it's live on the Golf Channel. It'll be on in January. It's on preceding the Sony Open coverage, live on the Golf Channel.
All right. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Morning Run, and continued success there with your invitation on the Pro-Am.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice
Brian
work.
Gay, four-time winner on the PGA Tour, joining us here on the Morning Run.